Hello folks, you're in Ann Arbor, Michigan, USA for the Ann Arbor annual Entheofest event here in Ann Arbor. They're getting ready to have the Entheofest across the street over at the U of M Diag over there. You're looking at the cube right here behind the Ann Arbor Student Union. Check it out, the cube.
Umbrella.
Well folks, we're here at the 2025 Ann Arbor Entheofest. There's a sign right up there, freedom of speech, folks. The university denied these guys a permit for the event this year, and the student body took the university to court and won. And we get the right to have the event now. The university had to give them a permit, so everybody's here. The event's here, September 21st, 2025, right here at the Diag in Ann Arbor, Michigan, USA, the U of M Diag, and it's around 12 o'clock, right around there. So, and I'll tell you what, it's starting to rain, folks. Got some Ann Arbor's finest right there. They're making sure nobody's selling mushrooms up here. Last year they had a whole bunch of tables all over here. Tents, and everybody was selling mushrooms and pipes and t-shirts and all that kind of stuff. And now, this year, nothing is for sale. They can have the event. We got a permit to have the event, but there is no sales of nothing. No mushrooms, no giving it away, none of that stuff. So all that stuff is vacant from the movie this year. All those people, all those booths that we went up and talked to last year, they're all gone this year. So it might be just a little bit boring this year since we don't have all those guys to talk to. But we're doing our best, folks, with what we got. And we are here, and this is Entheofest 2025 here in Ann Arbor, Michigan, USA. They decriminalized, legalized organic psychedelics here in Washtenaw County. That's the county for Ann Arbor.
Hey, Panama. Hey, Panama James. Panama James.
And it's starting to rain a little harder, folks. Let's take a break for a second. Hey folks, I'm standing right here with one real important person. Hey guy, what's your name?
Jim Salina.
Hi Jim, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on here?
This is the 5th annual Entheofest. We're on the campus of the University of Michigan at a historical location called the Diag, where civil rights and hash bash and women's marches and free Palestine things have all occurred here on the Diag, in addition to so many other free speech events. We're here today to celebrate entheogenic plants and fungi. It's Entheogenic Plant and Fungi Awareness Month in the city of Ann Arbor. It was also decriminalized 5 years ago in 2020 with a resolution that was passed unanimously by the city council. Subsequently, our county prosecutor came out and decriminalized all those substances in the entire county. That's Prosecutor Ellie Sabat. And we're really happy to be here today. We fought for this. We got our permit very late. We actually got it on Friday. The university lost in court, the Court of Claims up in Lansing, in what's known as the Hall of Justice. We had Judge Brock Schwartzel that gave his opinion in our favor, but we started so late. We're not organized. We have half as many sponsors as we had in the past. And our keynote speaker, William Leonard Picard, had to duck out because if we weren't going to have a permit, him being here would have been in harm's way, if you know William Leonard Picard's story.
I filmed him few years back at the Hash Bash, and it's one of the coolest little pieces of film I've ever made in my life.
Well, he spoke at the first Entheofest.
Yeah,
and, maybe
that's the one.
To.
And I did film him.
You can hear a pin drop. Him and Barking Dog Daryl Brown spoke that day.
I really liked that segment a whole lot, and I met him afterwards. I met him up there and talked to the guy for a couple minutes. Yeah.
So we got denied our permit in early August, and since then we've had some free speech issues, obviously, with someone being assassinated, speaking his mind, and then Jimmy Kimmel being taken off the air for speaking his mind. And these are the things that really are the forefront of what we should be focused on, and not have any apathy or complacency in fighting this. Because if you let people gaslight you, they'll continue to until you let them know that you're onto them. So
no, you got to stand up once in a while.
Yeah, call it out.
Well, the Hash Bash started here years and years ago, under the same beliefs, and it's had hassles here and there over the years, but fast forward to modern times now, it's still here.
Yeah.
And Hash Bash is big nowadays. It's growing.
It is. Over 50 years.
Right.
We just lost John Sinclair.
Yeah.
The reason for Hash Bash this past April. So it's actually a year from April we lost him, but we're trying to continue that legacy.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen. The university, incidentally, has proposed a $50 million civic center that they're building here on campus that's supposed to, I think, take place of events like this. But we're never going to leave this diag. This is historical.
Somehow,
not gonna build
just for me, keep the diag involved. Yeah. I love the diag. Yeah. I kind of started out here myself years and years ago.
Yeah. That's great.
They had, those homeless people you see walking around on the streets.
Yeah.
Back in 1971, 72, I was one of those guys.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Here in Ann Arbor?
I was here at the first Hash Bash.
Okay.
I was really drunk.
Okay.
But I was here.
Yeah.
And, we used to hang around the diag and stuff, back then. And, I'm glad to see that this stuff is still functioning. It hasn't been wiped out by the university.
Obvious attempts to. And,
they're trying.
And
Hash Bash. Step in here so we can see this talking.
Well, the concern, as you were just discussing, this has gone on for decades.
Yep.
And you were here participating in that, the first one, which is really cool.
I didn't know too much about the cause back then. But I was here.
Hey, but you were here in support, so that was helpful nonetheless. And that has gone on. Now it would be 55th annual in April.
So what, in those terms of thinking, what I'm thinking is like what Entheofest might be 50 years from now.
So that is an awesome thought, but fundamentally though, we are still trying to preserve the right just to show up and talk about it in the first place. We've turned the clocks back a little bit here, and we're re-arguing the same things that were settled, 30 plus years ago.
And to make sure everything stays steady. On our end, we're the low guys. They're the guys with all the money, okay? If we drop our ball, they'll run over us. You know what I mean? So we have to stay diligent along the years.
That are changing, and some attitudes.
Right.
The Constitution, in this regard, has not yet changed. And people like Emily, for example, who leads up the student group, or SAPS, didn't have to.
Hi, Emily.
But decided to challenge the university on this, and she's brave for doing that.
And thank you so very, very much for doing this, okay?
Yeah, we're so grateful to be here. And although we have a right to be here too, I believe so, but glad that the courts worked quickly for us and
they did.
In our favor, yeah.
They did. I was real worried that it was going to get, pushed back, and then, it's too late. The event's already over.
Right, yeah, 2 emergency hearings later.
But they did do it quick. And you guys won. I was really proud of you guys. And I know there's a lot of other people out there that are proud of you guys also.
Thank you.
People that they can't do nothing, they're not involved, but they see you guys out there fighting for them. Yeah.
that makes me feel good. I think I noticed myself taking maybe the whole court case for granted, or diminishing its purpose here. Well, but I do feel that it's...
Remember what I told him. Think Entheofest 50 years from now.
Yeah, totally.
What it could be.
Yeah. That's what I had that in the back of my mind.
Right, and the underlying thing here is, you know, the freedom of speech thing, and that, you know, we get to assemble and say how we feel. That's America, right?
It is. And having it on the diag and a part of my student group is huge, because it's inciting activism in students and encouraging students to get involved and to know that psychedelic science, therapy, policy, you know, all this stuff exists, is happening,
and there's power in numbers. You know, alone it's hard for somebody to do something, but if you gather together with a few people, it gets a little easier.
There's a lot of people. We're unsure, you know, how many people will come out today, but in years past we have hundreds of people who come and support, so we know it's...
Okay, so tell us your name one more time.
Yeah, I'm Emily Behrman. I'm doing my master's in social work at the University of Michigan.
Great.
And I'm the president of the Student Association.
Thank you so much, Emily.
Thank you for being here.
Okay.
Amazing.
Okay, folks, you're standing around down here at the 2025 Entheofest event here in Ann Arbor, Michigan, USA, right here in the middle of the diag. That's where I'm at. And I'll tell you, folks, it's sprinkling kind of hard. My camera's getting wet. We're gonna get what we can get for you. See those guys with umbrellas? It's raining. We're gonna get as much as we can for you today, folks. They just put a tent up over the podium. It's a rainy day, folks, at the Entheofest. See folks walking around with umbrellas. It's because it's raining. But I think they're getting ready to start up the speaker section.
check. Hey, hey. 1, 2, 2. Hey, hey.
A little boring, folks. I know there's no vendors here. There's no tables to check out. They're not selling any pipes or none of that kind of stuff. T-shirts, none of that stuff. Like in previous years. You know, there was always somebody to talk to back then. But they are here. And that's what's important, is the fact that the Entheofest is here this year. Hopefully it'll be here for many, many years to come. Right here on the Diag. Just like the Hash Bash. And we all know the university would like to squash some of that stuff, but hey, free speech. Just panning back and forth. There's not a lot of people here like years before because of the rain, I think. The weather's not really great today. But there's a few people here. We're here. You guys can go ahead.
Well, we're going to put up tents. If you want, you can have this little thing, but we're going to move. We can move on.
Fought and battled. Emily Berryman went against the regents here at the University of Michigan to allow us to be here today. That happened literally last Wednesday in court, and we finally got the permit on Friday. It's been, we were denied as early as August 3rd, I think. And we've been battling since the beginning of August to get this resolved. The university, in my opinion, and many others, did this to stall the whole process so we couldn't really rally. I mean, we have half the sponsors this year, and I'm not taking anything away from the sponsors that are with us, because I thank them so much from the bottom of my heart for sticking with us. But we have, that's where we're at. And I'm so happy that people came today. When we got denied first, they asked us to, we appealed, and we said, is there anything we can do, and asked us for a list of safety measures to mitigate the issues that we have here with people selling things that are I'm so happy that people are not selling anything right now. I don't see anyone doing that, and I want to give it up and give the police for that right now. Hey, there's probably less people here because of that. but they're not a part of this movement. We need people who are advocates, not people who are just trying to sell and be entrepreneurs. We need people that are getting off, counting their money and coming up here and speaking on behalf of whatever it is that these mushrooms provide people. And if it is money, we'll come up and say that. But don't hide and utilize what we have here by taking advantage of the people that come through.
It's a very hard thing.
Advocacy is important, obviously. Being here on this diet has a historical perspective.
And if you hit me up on diet,
be speaking on that more today.
You actually hit me up on diet. Okay.
After we sent in the safety measures, the measures were never responded to. We didn't have any response to the list, and we were denied again. And that was right around Labor Day, and that just kind of threw a wrench into everything. The timing of it couldn't have been better because we're here today. And I don't mind the rain. I mean, the mushrooms love it. They're growing right now. And it's a great thing for that. I want to thank some people. I want to thank, obviously, Emily Berryman, the president of SAPS. She's an amazing person for being enrolled in trial and for doing this. It's really important that we exercise our freedom of speech. I know the university wants to do a $50 million civic center where people can gather, and I love that idea for discourse. This is a place of protest here. It's historically known for that.
Hey, thanks everybody for showing up. Bad weather, we got a lot of obstacles along the way to get here, yet we're all here. And I just really want to reiterate some of the stuff that Jim said. First by thanking and acknowledging the bravery of Emily Berryman and the SAPS organization for standing up for their rights. Please, let's hear it for Emily and SAPS. And Jim Salang. And also, I'm not sure if he's here, but attorney Tom Levine picked up this case and just said, I got your back, and voted to being here today, so I want to appreciate him. And just remind people that they have a really long, ongoing event of education and community outreach and just trying to provide a really good, safe space for people to come learn about these things. But before that could happen this year, they had to fight for the right to even talk about it in the first place. And this was already settled over 30 years ago when Adam Brooke and others argued against the exact same reasons for denial. And so we really shouldn't be having to fundamentally go over our rights again, but here's where we are. And of course, this is bringing up a lot of concern for Hash Bash. And we hope that we don't have to deal with anything, but we're assuming that there's going to be some obstacles there too. And just want to call on people now to be ready for that and do our due diligence, keep an eye on things, and be prepared to help support making sure we can be back here for Hash Bash in April. All right, everybody, I really appreciate you being here. That's really what I wanted to say today. And we'll all be in touch, until then, and make sure that we're here first Saturday in April, high noon. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Everybody give it up for Jamie Lowell. Everybody, I want to bring up our next guest. We have Ms. Vicious is a founding member of Keep Your Nature, Hazel Park. They're decriminalized there in Hazel Park. A huge part of that is Ms. Vicious. She's an advocate, speaker, educator, cultivator, who focuses on integrating plant medicines into daily life practices through education and advocacy since 2018. Everybody put your hands together to Shane Vicious.
How beautiful it is out here. I just want to thank Emily Berryman and SAPS again for having the courage to fight for this beautiful event. Exactly. We've been doing this event for about 5 years now, and I've been here since the first one. Such an honor to be here. This is a great reminder that we have to keep fighting for our natural rights and for our own body autonomy. Now that the word is out and we know the beneficial results from using plant medicines, now is the time we need to go deeper. We need to go further into research. This is when testing becomes important. This is going to help us identify compounds within these mushrooms and help us figure out exactly what strains are good for each medical condition. We want to continue to educate our community on safe practices and safe uses. We must continue to teach people how to integrate these plant medicines so they can be beneficial in their own lives and their own communities. I'm grateful to have my family here with me today. Your true testimony how this medicine has taken me from being diagnosed with a major depression to thriving. I also want to thank all our political leaders who've been standing beside us in this fight, including Mike McFall, Michigan House of State Representative, who's not here yet, but did introduce another bill, SB 5980. That bill supports psilocybin possession up to 2 ounces for people who have PTSD symptoms. So thank you again, Jim, for having me, and despite the circumstances of the event, thank you everybody that's come out here. Healing yourself is not a crime.
Miss Business, everybody. Hazel Park. Remember when you go to Hazel Park? It's like being in Ann Arbor. Folks, right now I want to bring up someone who was pivotal 5 years ago. This is the anniversary of the passing of the resolution to decriminalize plant medicines and mushrooms in the city of Ann Arbor. That happened in 2020. At that time, the city council person was monumental in making that happen. Everyone, please put your hands together for Ann Bannister.
Yeah! Yeah!
What's up, Entheofest 2025? I'd like to thank all you grassroots activists, elected officials, and medical professionals here today to support this free speech event. There are too many people to thank. They've already been thanked, but a huge special thank you again to Jim Salame, one of Entheofest's lead organizers and MC, Emily Behrman, from the president of U of M's Student Association of Psychedelic Studies. The attorney Tom Levine has been mentioned, and our personal activist Jamie Lowell. Each one of you here today are pioneers and champions in the nationwide movement to decriminalize nature and truly make an impact on our shared goals of raising awareness and support for broader recognition of the spiritual and medical potential of entheogens and helping to build a base of equity in this growing industry. We're on a mission to improve human health and well-being through political and community organizing, education, advocacy, and research surrounding sacred plants. I like to tell the story of how in 2020, Ann Arbor became the first city in Michigan and the fourth city in the country to pass the resolution decriminalizing entheogenic plants and fungi and making it a lowest law enforcement priority. I hope to inspire other elected officials and grassroots activists to begin or continue to support the movement in your city. The first step in the network is to join with like-minded people and such as the Decriminalize Nature organization. I was first introduced to Decriminalize Nature in 2019 when the Ann Arbor chapter hosted a symposium just across here at the University of Michigan's Graham Auditorium. A friend of mine who is a therapist attended, and he came back all breathless to tell me how wonderful and exciting this progress was. So then in February of 2020, when the Ann Arbor chapter of Decriminalize Nature hosted a fundraiser, a few of us who had been on city council attended and were easily convinced to support bringing forward the template for the decriminalization resolution to the Ann Arbor City Council, which ultimately passed unanimously. The next step was that the decriminalized nature group started emailing city council members and sending hard copies of the growing body of success stories and research in the field of neuroscience and clinical research to the city council, along with the template resolution that, as I said, ended up passing unanimously here in Ann Arbor. As many of you know, since Ann Arbor passed our resolution, Detroit, Ferndale, Hazel Park, and Ypsilanti have also passed their resolution. And I have also spoken before with Chuck Green before the Jackson City Council under the leadership of Aliana DeRosset. And we've had discussions with Toledo City Council member under the leadership of Julie Barron from the Michigan Psychedelic Society. So if you're interested in getting more involved, you don't need to reinvent the wheel, because Decriminalization Nature Michigan has already assembled the toolbox of everything you need, such as the resolution itself, which contains all of the whereas and resolve clause about the benefits to the community. We have a packet of the articles of the growing body of research study, including University of Michigan's own Michigan Psychedelic Center, led by last year's keynote speaker, Dr. George Mansour. We've also got a couple ideas of how to talk to City Council and speak from the heart during public comment sections at their meetings. And then you can also relook at YouTube videos of what other public commenters have said so eloquently at previous meetings. So thank you all for being here today. Our work is not done. As the legal challenge to bring this free speech event today shows, we must stay vigilant and continue to advocate and grow the movement. Please register to vote and exercise your right to vote. Look carefully into your candidates who truly walk the talk and are willing to actively advocate for issues that we care about. Here's to the good mental health of all of our brothers and sisters, and let's have a paradigm shift, end the war on drugs, and open the doors to transformative healing that is our human right. Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone for being here. It's amazing to see all these faces in the rain. You guys are awesome. You make this event what it is. Now I have the honor of hosting another one of our speakers. She's a student at the University of Michigan. She's a senior studying public health. Minor in social work. She's a project. It's a nonprofit organization dedicated to and we are so excited to have her here, and they also have a table over there giving out free napkins. Thank you, Sylvia. Hi everyone, and thank you for coming today. We're so happy that Entheofest deserves a permit to host this important event. On behalf of the Lookout Project, we appreciate the opportunity to thank all of us advocates for the decriminalization of psychedelics and other substances. At the Lookout Project, we distribute harm reduction resources, including naloxone and testing kits, to Washington community. We educate others about desensitizing substance use and advocate for more humanizing and life-saving policy measures, such as implementing overdose prevention. Psychedelics have been used for society for thousands of years, primarily as spiritual and healing rituals by indigenous folks. Yet another important element of communities that were here before us was the racist and classist ideology. Psychedelics have been used to help people with chronic pain, manage debilitating mental health issues, and help people become more connected to Mother Nature and themselves. The Controlled Substances Act of 1970 was one of many harmful policies that Nixon passed, perpetuating the war on drugs and limiting research for psychedelics. What's funny is that America will incarcerate people for using substances, but we won't address the root causes of why people might be using those in the first place. We've seen time and time again that criminalizing issues does not get rid of the problem. In fact, it makes it worse. If we continue to stigmatize substances and psychedelic use, that won't stop people from using it. It just increases the risk of using unsafely and being afraid to reach out for help out of the fear of being incarcerated. One scary statistic is that upon release from jail, an individual is 13 times more likely to die of an overdose in the first 2 weeks of their release. This is because, instead of helping those with substance use disorders and drug them, treating them like second-class citizens. Healthcare systems provide very little, if any, for those with substance use disorders, putting them at much higher risk for overdosing when they are back in the green zone. It shouldn't have to be this way. By normalizing discourse about substance use, having naloxone readily available in public spaces, and hosting amazing events like Entheofest, we can combat the stigma around substance use and push for more psychedelic research and support those who have been fighting for our inalienable rights to utilize nature. At the Lookout Project, we believe that people deserve agency over their own minds and lives so that they can be their happiest and healthiest selves, however that looks for them. Recovery can look different for everyone. The least we can do is ensure that if people want to use a substance, they can do so in a safe environment with adequate education on how to use it and what effects it can have. Please stop by at our table if you're in Narcan, and remember that you can always get it for free. Reach out to us if you are ever in need of naloxone, and we can deliver it to you. COP has also launched a podcast on Spotify called the Lookout Podcast, where we highlight diverse perspectives about the opioid epidemic and overdose prevention. We'd love it if you gave it a listen. Thank you all again for listening, and happy Entheofest.
Give it up for Shravi, everybody. Look out. Check out the booth over there, everyone. So our next speaker was a kindergarten teacher for 33 years. He's from Ann Arbor, Michigan. He is the man who started MI Legalize, which was, we probably signed a petition to help legalize cannabis in this state. And that was something that he was responsible for with MI Legalize. And he also helped make medical cannabis available in 2004. Folks, please put your hands together for a new upcoming city council person in Ann Arbor, Chuck Green.
Play my best, which I've built over 55 years in the cannabis struggle. You want to touch my vest, about the most important reason that I came here today was simply to thank all of you for coming here to carry on one of the most important traditions that human beings have created. I shower praise upon you. You are the people who are truly enlightened and important. We have such a big job to do. My generation discovered cannabis and psychedelics in the 1960s, and we loved it very much, just about every weekend. Immediately, we knew, obviously, that this was the best thing there was, the best thing ever, period. We thought we had made a great discovery, but it was actually an ancient thing. Psychedelics have created Western civilization, including the mysteries of Eleusis, which went on for more than 2,000 years in Greece. Using a substance like LSD, every great thinker from Greece and Rome knew these mysteries were the greatest thing ever. And so do we. Personally, I'm a bit depressed. It is getting about time for me to die now, but I'm wondering what will die first. Maybe the end of American democracy will come first. Maybe full-scale thermonuclear war will come first, and I won't even have to worry about it. Maybe now we live in the last golden age, and our time seems to be dead. Also, I'm rather depressed that the great University of Michigan, that I loved so much and that won the game yesterday, and is a beacon of light and learning and free expression, tried to cancel Entheofest in order to show obedience to the depraved, ugly, fascist pig of a president that we have, a man determined to stamp out freedom and democracy. Psychedelics help us escape the murder, the mundane boredom of daily life and enter a magical world that is far more real than we feel every day. The perception of every one of your senses is expanded far beyond what you need for just survival. However, psychedelics are the exact opposite of an escapist drug. If there is anything you are repressing, the psychedelic will put that right at the front of your mind so you can't escape it, and you can learn how to handle it. It is the ultimate truth teller to yourself. The psychedelics can give you tools to handle these problems. You can come out of a trip enlightened and reborn. You deeply understand that the only really important thing is love. We should keep on trying to get psychedelics approved through the proper government channels, but the FDA has shown that they won't play fair at all and will not legalize psychedelics. It's quite odd now that we have a Secretary of Health and Human Services that is pro-psilocybin. Very bizarre. Psychedelics are very useful for people with the most intractable psychological problems, and they can be a source of illumination and ecstasy for those who are perfectly fine. One strong psychedelic session can turn a life around. You are never the same again because you have seen the other side, and you know what holy feels like. Yes, we must continue to try to get. And we know we cannot depend on corrupt government. With or without government approval, we must carry on the psychedelic tradition ourselves, like it has been carried on here in the USA underground for the past 50 or really 80 years. We have to be here to ensure that people who desperately want psychedelics will be able to get that, possibly to save their lives. Never give up. Never buckle under. It is better to live free, to die a free person, than to live as a slave. We are the disciples of plants and chemicals that can turn human beings toward caring, understanding, and love. It is my greatest hope that the peace and joy and wisdom that are contained in the psychedelics can be spread throughout human civilization. The cost would be next to nothing, and the benefit would be deeply healthy and transformative. We know that we can never falter in our faith and never give up. I taught kindergarten for 33 years, and I know that human beings start out just fine. They start out just wonderful and loving. Homo sapiens is worth saving, and we are advocating for the most basic tool to turn civilization around. Maybe we can sacrifice a few material objects so that we can enjoy health and happiness here on this wonderful living earth that is our loving home. Times are dark. We have to keep the faith. Power to my brothers and sisters and to those magnificent plants put here by the Creator to give us a chance at happiness and health. Love to you. Thank you for being here today. Keep up your great work and do not ever give up. Thank you.
Chuck Green, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be hearing more from Chuck. Everyone, our next speaker started out here in Washtenaw County as a county commissioner, and then he became a House of Representative member, and now he is a state senator. He advocates for free speech, for the rights of everyone. And the biggest thing that I love about him is he advocates for our planet and clean water. And he introduced a microplastics legislation recently. Please give it up for Senator Jeff Irwin.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming out to support freedom here at Entheofest. Great to see people out here on this beautiful Michigan day. We've got mushroom weather, which I think is appropriate. And it's great to see so many people out here still shoulder to shoulder in the fight for freedom for psychedelic substances here and right here in Ann Arbor today. They can't stop Entheofest. The rain can't stop Entheofest. The university can't stop Entheofest. The cops can't stop Entheofest. This event is going to continue to go on until we win freedom for ourselves and for our neighbors who want access to plant medicines to improve their lives, to address their medical needs, whether that's depression, whether that's trying to find meaning in their life, whether that's folks who are suffering from chronic pain, who need relief, and who are currently prescribed a toxic, ineffective blend by their doctors. They should have the right to try something different that might work for them. And that's what we're here fighting for today. We're also here in part of a larger context in the fight for free speech and the fight for our constitutional rights. There were people on the way in here who had their bags open, who had their, objects rifled through, had strollers closely examined by police officers in warrantless illegal searches. Right here on the University of Michigan. I think those police agencies should answer why they're violating our constitutional rights rather than just simply doing their job and trying to maintain order here on campus like they should be, like we want them to. They need to respect our Constitution. And that's an important part of the fight that we have nationally, to respect our Constitution and respect our rights for free speech. Never have our free speech rights been more under assault. And that's why it's important that when we believe in something like the freedom for people to access plant medicine, that we come out to the town square and we shout about it. And we say that what we're doing now is wrong. What we're doing now is against the public interest. We're wasting our money to ruin the lives of people who just want access to plant medicine. So that's why I've introduced legislation for years and years to decriminalize the use of plant-based medicine here in Michigan. I've introduced legislation time and time again to say that if people want access to psilocybin, or people want access to peyote, or people want access to some of these substances, they should be able to do that. Why? Because people, human beings, have been using these substances for thousands of years. They've been using them in religious rites. They've been using them in cultural rights. They've been using them in coming-of-age ceremonies, culture after culture after culture. Why else should these things be legal? They should be legal because they're not very harmful. We're supposed to be regulating substances according to whether they're harmful to the public. These substances are not regulated. They may be harmful to the dominant mainstream mindset, but they're not harmful to human physiology, and they should be regulated as such. And finally, these substances have tremendous promise to help human beings. Before America put our head in the sand and turned our back on the opportunities that these medicines provide, there were people at institutions like this great institution who were doing research on how these substances could facilitate the flourishing of humankind. That's the kind of knowledge that we should be seeking, not putting our head in the sand because we're afraid of what these substances might do. We need to be researching them. We need to be studying them. We need to be providing to our fellow humans the path that these plant medicines can provide to a better life, just like with other plants that we have used for human medicine for thousands and thousands of years. So, as we leave here today, I want you to ask yourself, why is it that these particular substances are singled out for attack by our government? And after you ask yourself that, I want you to do one of the things. I want you to reach out to your elected officials. I want you to reach out to your state representative. I want you to reach out to your state senator. And I want you to ask them if they think it's sensible to continue to make it illegal for people to use and possess these substances. If they think it's sensible to continue to threaten to throw people in jail if they use or possess these substances. if they think it might be smart to instead of criminalizing, instead actualize the opportunities here in Michigan with plant medicine and get smart about anti-venom safety. Because if you ask them this question, the first time, they're not going to have much of an answer. They're not going to know today. But the second time, and the third time, and the fourth time, we're going to get closer and closer to the answer that we need as a society, because there's only one right answer. People deserve the freedom to use these substances, and that's why we're all here today. Thank you very much. And thank you again to all the organizers who pressed forward through the University of Trenton.
Senator Jeff Rowan. Thank you, everyone, for continually, hanging in with the rain coming down. Our next speaker is an amazing person. I met him last year at the Entheofest when he came to be a speaker. He's a motivational speaker, and he speaks a lot about cannabis. I'm about mushrooms. You know where my mind is. But he speaks a lot on mushrooms. He's done so many triathlons. He'll tell you the story. He swam around Mackinac Island, in like a wetsuit. He was part of the 50th annual memorial for the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. That's this year, the 50th annual of the wreck that happened that took like 29 lives. But he swam in Lake Superior all the way with other swimmers to complete the journey that the Edmund Fitzgerald should have made. Ladies and gentlemen, I won't blabber anymore. Please welcome Brandon Hillaker.
Before I get started with talk, I run a lot in the woods. I do a lot of trail running. And when I run, and before I run, if it rains out, I run on all these wood chips. And the day after it rains out, it's amazing. And to come here today and see it raining and seeing like all these amazing people come for the same cause. Beautiful to see everybody today. Thank you. Normally when I do public speaking, I make a big, long, elaborate speech. Today I'm just going to give you the facts. I was an underwater welder. I have bipolar and borderline personality disorder and ADHD. In 2013, I had a 5-month-long manic episode. I no longer wanted to fight my mental health battle, so I acted on my thoughts of suicide. When I woke up from a coma, I had to learn how to walk and talk and communicate all over again. After the incident, my mental health became much worse. From 2013 to 2021, I was in and out of inpatient hospitals 4 to 8 times a year. In a period of 8 years, I was on over 40 different pharmaceutical medications. I went through physical therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, and group therapy. I went to all the best doctors, therapists, psychologists, and medical professionals. Many of these medical professionals told me to sit at home, take my meds, and survive my disability. They told me that my goals were ideas of grandeur, that I could no longer work, go to school, or be a productive member of society. I allowed the beliefs and assumptions of others to control the outcome of my life. I allowed my disabilities to define me. In 2021, I was once again contemplating suicide. Once again, I felt hopeless and helpless and alone. And then something happened that changed my life. One night I was at a music event and a young lady walked up and said, "Do you want some mushrooms?" Never taken mushrooms before, I simply said okay. I laid in a hammock under the stars with this feeling that everything was going to be okay. After this event, I no longer wanted to kill myself. In fact, it was the total opposite. I wanted to live and learn why I felt that way. I ran home and just went down this psychedelic rabbit hole trying to figure out why I felt so amazing, so alive, so full of hope. I found some fascinating information. Major universities and private researchers were researching psilocybin and bipolar. At times in life, a sliver of sunshine will shine through the darkest of days. It is our job to grab that sunshine because that sunshine is the hope we need not to just survive, but to thrive. I sat down with my mental health provider, my doctor, and my wife, and I explained that I was coming off all my medications and I was going to use psilocybin. With doctor's supervision, I came off my medications. Fact, I have been off medication for 4 years. I have not been to the inpatient hospital for 4 years. I will be graduating in April with a psychology degree. I have been awarded scholarships, 2 writing awards, the Michigan Rehabilitation Champion Award, and the Kimberly R. Houston Leadership Award. I wrote a book called Monarch that'll be coming out soon. I have completed 16 triathlons in the past 2 years. I have successfully expunged my entire criminal record. Over the past summer, I was a part of a 411-mile relay swim to symbolically complete the Edmund Fitzgerald's journey from where she lies in the bottom of Lake Superior to Detroit, Michigan. We successfully raised over $200,000 for the Great Lakes Shipwreck Historical Society. In July, I completed a world record, 4-day, 400-mile triathlon from hell to paradise. I named it the Try for Hope to give others hope that the impossible is really possible. I biked 330 miles from Hell, Michigan to Mackinac. I swam 5 miles underneath the bridge and got out and ran 65 miles to paradise in 84 hours and raised over $8,000 for suicide awareness. I was recently awarded the United States Congressional Proclamation for successfully achieving that goal. Mushrooms let that lion out. I keep saying I won these things, but I'm going to stand corrected right now. It wasn't me. It was the unity of the collective. It was us. They gifted me that day, that night with the mushroom. I could not have done it without her, without all of you, the growers, the researchers, the advocates, the fighters like Jim and Emily for fighting for our right to be here today. Researchers like Roland Griffiths from Johns Hopkins University that research bipolar and psilocybin. We all hold the keys to the black lion within us. We decide what to do with those keys. When I ate those mushrooms, it gave me the keys to let that lion out again. However, even when we win, we have not won. I still have to get my medicine from Detroit and then drive home 2.5 hours. And if I get pulled over, I get arrested for a felony. I can go to jail for the medicine that gave me my life back. Entheogens are our past and future medicine, and it's time to bring them back. So I leave you with this. Don't stop fighting. Don't stop advocating. Don't stop growing, because my life and the future of medicine depends on us. Thank you.
Brandon Hill, thank you, everyone. What incredible news. Ladies and gentlemen, 5 years ago, I mentioned in the, I alluded to this earlier, we helped decriminalize plant medicines and mushrooms here. Ann Bannister was a big part of that, as I said. And Chris Kurtz was as well. He was on the Decrim Nature Ann Arbor board at the time and was a pivotal part of that entire process. He's got more news to share with you. And let's just get him up here now. Everyone, please welcome Chris Kurtz.
What's up?
Okay, there's some good adrenaline. Thank you everyone for showing up. It's awesome to see so many people here even in the rain. My name is Chris Kurtz. I was on the steering committee for Decriminalize Nature Ann Arbor, the nonprofit that introduced decriminalization to Ann Arbor City Council and worked with them to unanimously decriminalize entheogens in September 2020. Then in 2021, the Washington County prosecutor, Ellie Savitt, extended decriminalization to the entire county. For the last 5 years, we've gotten to see this positive change in effect. I get to work with people every day who use this plant medicine to improve their physical, mental, and spiritual health. They use it to reconnect to themselves, nature, the universe, and sometimes a higher power. The vast majority of people who discover this medicine are able to find relief on multiple levels. When I first took mushrooms over 10 years ago, they helped me to understand and treat my own addiction in a new way. Okay. They said, you don't need this anymore, and now we will be with you forever. You have our knowledge and our strength, even when you're not ingesting us. Since that day, I made a decision to spread this medicine to as many people as possible, specifically mushrooms. And the best way to do that is on a macro level, by changing laws and culture. So I'm extremely excited to finally announce the next Michigan decriminalization movement. It's called Decriminalize Psilocybin Michigan. We'll be working in cities all around the state to help educate local government and to assist the people in introducing a decriminalization model that works for everyone. We plan on making change in cities and counties first, with the ultimate goal of decriminalizing at the state level. We hope to give others a voice as well. We will be having our first meetings online towards the end of October in about a month. For the first few meetings, we will be organizing local groups and then introducing strategy in the same way that was successful in Ann Arbor, Berkeley, Santa Cruz, California, Ferndale, Hazel Park, and Detroit, and others. You can sign up to be notified of the first meetings over at the Torn and Frayed /DPMI, Decriminalize Psilocybin Michigan table. And thanks everyone again for showing up. And let's get this movement going again.
All right. Again, thank you all for being here. It's like in the rain. I just see all your faces and it makes me happy. So seriously appreciate you. Our next speaker is Mike Woody. He is a longtime member of the Men's Wisdom Council and a member of the Green Panthers, which is an activist group of all ages. He also serves as a life coach and community networker. He's a professor at the University of Detroit University. You can contact him if you have any thoughts or suggestions. And he's also an ex-member of the Americans for Safe Access and a supporter of Detroit Psychedelic Church. Thank you guys so much for being here, and thanks for being here, Mike.
I just came from Round Hager's Common Ground Festival that happened today, and they continued at 6 o'clock. So if you want to see our party afterwards, you could go by the Commons down in town, Johnson City Hall, and they have music and food and things like that. I found Buddhist thinking helpful to us all. It helps us change our mind from fear to love. So I'm just saying, psychedelics help the John Hopkins study said people who had terminal cancer were relieved of the agony and fear by psilocybin. And these were controlled studies by John Hopkins Medical School, and they found that they help people relax and accept death or illness or fatal disease. So no matter what the crisis in your life might be, dissolution of a long marriage or loss of a family member, you might want to hang on to the possibility of changing your approach to your own future to build your legacy and offer hope to your children and grandchildren and maybe some optimism so they can live the rest of their lives with bravery and curiosity and creativity. And ultimately, as Chuck said earlier, the bottom line that psilocybin does for us is open our hearts and reconsider how we want to live the rest of our lives. Don't we want to live the rest of our lives with hope, optimism, and love? Why fear and anger? We shouldn't let the TV set get us riled up over what they put in front of us. That we may be better off finding a common ground and work together on the grassroots level to take back the Democratic Party and revive the movement for a hopeful future. I'm a futurist, and I'd just like to read some virtues that I think all of us can identify with, and they open up when we take psychedelics. It helps our adaptability to life. It helps our truthfulness, when we're open and honest and friendly, and the self-reliance, resilience, patience and perseverance, and sincerity and honesty, and contentment, and regularity and punctuality. It's a push of nature. In fact, when we came out, we made this trip. We're part of a family, and we've got lots of friends who we have to put in our car next trip to Hash Bash. And we definitely have to, respond to the possibility that they can never pass at us from the university because they're intimidated by Trump. Trump's picking on Harvard and big prestige schools. The University of Michigan, I'm an alumnus of the University of Michigan, class of 65, where we had the first allied teaching against the Vietnam War, which I was in. Michigan too, like they were taking on Harvard. And so Michigan is trying to throw us under the bus, and we're worried about the Michigan budget too. And, they've got bills we don't like. The saliva testing bill in the Senate, they go to the ground. But the tax on the railways, when they put it in the budget and throw us under the bus and tax the bills. And that's just because all of us, and I include myself, are not as active as we could be or should be. So I deputize all of you to ratchet up to a comfort level that we can live with. That's the key piece. Everybody has their own comfort level. You can work from your kitchen and sign postcards. You can get involved in many, many ways to cultivate these virtues. The psychedelics bring me a peace of mind. And that's the first step to becoming a peacemaker. So therefore you can become friendlier and less contentious. I remember going to the Black Bob's Cafe in Detroit, 7 Woodward, and some guy from the Green Party came up to me and said, "What are you wearing those buttons for? You shouldn't wear them into the cafe. Take them off." And I took them off and put them in my hot pocket and thanked him. So that's how you can avoid getting your votes over small potatoes. So the fact that I was a little high on marijuana at the time left me in a agreeable, friendly space because he was always trying to get my vote, and I didn't let that happen. So if you underreact to all provocation. If you underreact, you'll take less stress. When you overreact, you put your whole system under strain. Most of the time, it's 2 cents. It's a no big deal. It's what you do about nothing to use Shakespearean language. So let's try to make the hash open and stand ready to help them. Stand ready to find ways to phone the city council and the mayor. And hopefully our dear prosecutor will play a crucial role, and he'll be speaking here later today, I understand. So please, let's have some efforts here to really try to come up with ways to get more active. Involve yourself in the campaign, the Michigan U.S. Senate race, the governorship, the Michigan House, the courts, the elections for the local judges, and all the educational efforts that you can create to reach out, expand the line of work and networking, to link all these causes that are commonly bullied to link them together, to create an alliance of all the bullied, stigmatized causes. We have a very broad coalition. It has called for opposition of all forms of hate, including hating free speech. So what we're planning to do, when we do cultural outreach to youth and the general public, we need to leverage our creativity to reach more intergenerational solidarity so that the young males are not seduced into a 1950s Hells Angels culture. There's a lot of idealism. I've had 40 years at Catholic college, and I found the idealism of the liberal wing of the Catholic Church. Social justice, human rights, Central America, things of that sort. And so there's idealism in every generation, and your kids and grandkids cultivate that, support that, and have that fraction of their generation continue a cause that now some of us elders realize we may not live to see the final victory. It may be simply visionaries and prophets in our own time. But we rely on your kids and your grandkids to carry this across the finish line. So I'm honored to be here. I want to recommend one book, Visionary Plant Consciousness, Shamanic Teachings of the Plant World. Terrence McKenna, Andrew Wiles, Alex Gray, Kat Harrison, and others. This is the spiritual side of psychedelics. This is a chance for you to let go of some attitudes you've let formed around your ego. Trust life, trust yourself to life, trust others. If you're friendly and trusting, you can walk through any situation and find that you start with a friendly approach. And even just a hello, when I'm walking around the lake and I'm hiking somewhere, I always say hello to the people I cross, total strangers. Because we're all part of the family, we're all in this together, and you're the front lines, we're our salvation, we're counting on you. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mike. Appreciate you being here. Our next speaker is Rob McCurran, who's the founder of Our Grateful Journey. He's an ER physician that now works primarily with patients facing a life-limiting diagnosis. The purpose of Our Grateful Journey is to help patients and their caregivers relieve the anxiety and fear of death, using medicines when appropriate, as well as spiritual practices from an Ayurvedic background. Thank you so much, Rob, for being here.
All right. Hey, everybody. I'm really honored to be here. This is, I've never done anything like this. I'm not a great speaker, but I'm happy to be here, and I think I've got some good things to say. I'm here because I'm a believer. I believe in the power of these medicines. I believe in our right to have access to these medications. These plants, the sacred plants that give us so much. So, a couple things I want to talk about as, you know, well, first of all, I did want to thank everyone for ensuring our right to be here. These are difficult times where we need to stand up for our freedom wherever we fucking can. And this is one small way that we've done this, and we've shown that we can stand up and fight for the rights. So I'm so grateful for Emily and the whole crew that did this. This event and the history of this type of standing up to the power to do what's right and to try to help people. I mean, it's so inspiring to see how motivated they are, not by greed, not by corporate, you know, fucking trying to make more money off of giving people medicines, giving them hooked on medicines, all the stuff that happens bad and working. People in this community are dedicated to helping people and to love. I'm going to do something a little different right now. I'm going to, just to kind of teach you all a little bit about what I do and what I'm about. I'm going to ask you for a moment to stand up there. And I saw there, for one, how many people are hurting. Not just hurting physically, but are hurting spiritually. That are suffering from so many different problems. PTSD, addiction, alcohol, loneliness, anxiety, severe depression, bipolar, as we talked about. All of these things in Western medicine, we have some good tools to treat, but it certainly is not treating everyone. They also come with some costs, too. They have significant side effects. They're expensive. They're part of the corporate medical system that is reinforcing the system that puts people on medications that are expensive, and you got to take the rest of your life if you don't want to go back and have the same problem. How many medicines like these beautiful plants can you take one time and have months, if not years, or a lifetime of fucking healing? We don't have that in Western medicine at all. So when I came to the other thing is that we've got so many other, the opioid crisis, all of those things just really led me to believe that we need a different approach. And we need to be open to the beauty, the power of these medications, the fact that they are really accessible without a huge cost. And we do need to find ways, though, because as we go through and fight this battle, we try to find equal mechanisms for people to have these medications. By the time you put all that in place, it's so fucking expensive that few people can get them. Many of the people that want them cannot get them. So I'm not waiting for that. I'm here to try to work with people now in the ways that I can legally, and with referrals to people, in any way that I can to get people the help that they need at this point in their life. Part of my journey also was that I had the unfortunate experience of losing a wife to breast cancer at a young age, and we had young kids at home. I went through my spiritual crisis and suffered mightily through that process, and I had a lot of people watching me suffering and sick, and you need help to get through that, and that's what you can help you. So that's basically what I'm trying to do. And there's a couple things that I ask of you. One, the biggest challenge that we have is getting the message out to people that we have this. Some people call it palliative psychedelic medicine. Not a lot of people that you can find that are offering that. There's legal challenges to being able to do it. So it's largely underground. But we need to have access to people that are facing, I need referrals to come to people like me or other people that are trying to heal and help people in the community. Send them to us, get them to us somehow, help them understand why these medications can help them. Many older people are terrified of psychedelics. They've been brainwashed, as many of that generation is, to think that these things are nothing but terrible. And I often say I think it's hilarious that I grew up being told that if you use psychedelics, you were probably going to go crazy. And here we are using the same fucking things to treat people for mental illness. I find it extraordinary. So I'm happy to be part of that and do this work. But please help spread the word. If you have someone that you think might be interested in talking with me, find me. I'll be at the after party as well. And again, thank you all so much for being here. I love the mushroom weather. I'm going to use that term every time it rains now. And I look forward to seeing you guys then.
Dr. Rob McCurran, everybody. It is an honor to introduce the next speaker. Emily Berryman is the reason why we're here today. That's right. Thank you, Emily. She's the president of SAPS. She was here last year for the 4th annual Entheofest, and has just been, the most incredible person to work with. And I feel honored and grateful to know her. She currently works at Michigan Progressive Health, which is a ketamine clinic, and she's getting her master's in social work. Please put your hands together. Big, big round of applause for Emily Berryman.
For that really sweet introduction. So many people worked on this year's Entheofest. So many people do. Entheofest is a community effort to get it done. It's also a community effort for all of you being here. You make it what it is. Every single one of you who are here, this wouldn't be happening without your support, your care. So Jim is a huge, huge part of it. He always is. But he came to all the court cases. We had 2. Our first court case or hearing was in Washington County, and it needed to go to a court in Lansing, the Court of Claims. He was there, Jamie Lowell was there, a couple other of my staff's comrades were there, and so really it is a communal thing to be a part of this. Thank you to Jamie, thank you to Jim, thank you to Tom Levine, our lawyer for this case. He litigated like a badass. He's here today, and he'll talk all about that process. But we ended up getting here. The Court of Claims in Lansing. We had a couple emergency hearings. The last one was at the Court of Claims only a couple days ago. The judge, it was about 3 hours in the courtroom, testifying to why we have a right to be here, testifying to safety, to community. Some of the big issues that the university had was the safety of the event, people selling or other hazards. That we submitted this detailed risk mitigation strategy this year. When we applied for the permit, we were denied, which has not happened since I've been here. So we had a meeting with them, we appealed it, said, hey, this event is meaningful, it means a lot to people, it's powerful, it's important. It's important for us to be here as a student group, it's important for us to come together. Had that meeting with them, they asked us for this risk mitigation strategy. That seems to be their big thing with the event. We put together a list of the ways we would try to make it safe, responsible, respectful on campus, and then we had a final denial letter that didn't even address that. Somehow that seemed to be their big issue with the event, and they didn't even address that in their final denial. So we took them to court, and we won! I love being a student here. I'm doing my master's in social work. I did my undergrad here. I have a love for this university, and I had a deep conviction about this event. So, I feel like I'm in two worlds where I'm appreciating what I've gotten to do here, and I'm fucking pissed. We took them to court. They had big hotshot lawyers. They brought a ton of props to show, pictures of sex conversations, like Facebook posts that didn't have anything to do with the event organizers. And then the judge knew that we have a right to be here. We've done everything in our power to keep this event educational, advocacy, policy. And so here we are now. Thank you for bearing with us. We had like 2 days to plan after that. Thank you to all of our tables, our nonprofits who are here supporting us. Thanks to everyone who are on standby. Some people have flown in, people have driven hours and hours. It's so meaningful to see other people who care about psychedelic medicine the way that I do, and the way that my organization does. I'm the president of the Student Association for Psychedelic Studies, and our goal is to spread awareness about the research going on, therapy, policy, indigenous rights. The psychedelic space gets its fingers in all different spheres of the world. And so we host guest speaker events, bringing awareness to all of those things. And we also host community events. Community events to foster these like-minded spaces. Psychedelics are still pretty stigmatized. They're coming into light more, and we're hoping to see more of this, but you don't find these spaces everywhere. So SAPS is huge for me. When I was an undergrad, I was 3 years ago maybe, I came to my first Entheofest. I saw the SAPS table. I was like, what? They do psychedelic science? As a young person interested in psychedelics for my own interests, I could not believe that there's a student group who is doing this, and researchers who are doing this work. So it was amazing to see that. And then also amazing to see the community members who care just as much as I do. I also work at Michigan Progressive Health Clinic in Ann Arbor and doing psychedelic assisted therapy there, and it has changed my life. I feel incredibly honored to get to hold space for people struggling with mental health issues, struggling with chronic pain, getting to sit, use medicines that change parts of the brain, that change perspectives that other drugs or therapies haven't touched. People come to our clinic who are on their last, on the last straw. They've tried dozens of pharmaceuticals, different therapies, thousands and thousands of dollars. 30 plus years of depression. And they come here and often they see benefit. Also, it doesn't work for everyone. You know, working here has given me a nuanced view that they are incredibly powerful. I really believe in the healing power of psychedelics, and they're not for everyone. And we see these sensationalized things on YouTube about, like, I met God. Not everyone meets God, especially in the ketamine clinic. You know, there's a therapeutic dose you can use. You're hooked up to an IV, so the medical aspect of it does take away from some of the maybe mind bending or K-hole experience. And we don't want people to go through a K-hole, but it's powerful, and it's not a panacea. And so, you know, ketamine and psychedelics and what else are you doing? You know, what else are you getting involved in? Is huge, but it's often a catalyst. That's how I've seen ketamine work at this clinic at Michigan Progressive Health. It often is a catalyst for change. You know, seeing something in a different perspective, viewing your life, or viewing what issue is coming about in a different way, and then saying, you know, I feel like I can actually go make this choice. You know, I'm understanding where the social anxiety is coming from, and then doing the work, doing the integration therapy. I also think that folks doing psychedelics and healing themselves are awesome too. You know, I work in this clinic. It's expensive though. It's expensive to get psychedelic assisted therapy legally through a clinic, hundreds and hundreds, thousands of dollars over the course of the treatment. And so people do use on their own, and it's incredibly healing and powerful. And so, you know, at the staff, we don't condone the use of, you know, illicit substances. We're not telling people to go do them, and we believe in their power. We see it, and it's important to us. So I graduate in December. I hope to continue working there. I'm excited to be in this space so early, and have been excited to get to meet so many people at Entheofest. I have gotten different connections in the psychedelic space, but Entheofest is really where I've met other people who are like me. You know, we're on the ground, right? We're not the ones who are doing all the research, and some of us are. Some of us are involved in legislation, but a lot of us are here trying to figure ourselves out, and so we're here together. We can't do this without our fellow friends, community members. I see people I know. I love all of you. So I'm so grateful this event is going on this year, and hope for a strong Entheofest to come. Thank you to everyone who reached out to support too. I had a lot of people who were like, how can I help? It was really tough. You know, it was, as the plaintiff in this court case, you're the one who has all the information, and, you know, there's not much anyone else can do. Going to ranting, that's not, you know, people are sitting on a Wednesday at 1 p.m. or something. So I felt all the love and the care from everyone who cares about this event, cares about psychedelic medicine, even if you weren't present there. And then we did it, and now we're all present together. So excited to see the future of Entheofest. And it's important to have it on the diet. You know, it probably could be other places. That was something we talked about during the court case. Like, could Entheofest be somewhere else? It could. It could be in the city. But you can't replicate the diag. It takes away student rights, student free speech, student assembly. And that's what Backlash has always been. It's important to be on the diag for student, to elicit student advocacy. You know, like I said, as an undergrad, I was a student, and could not believe this was happening, and that's how I got involved. That's like my 20-year-old self 2 years ago. I'm 22. My 20-year-old self would not believe I'm up here right now. Would not believe I'm the president of SAF. That I get to put on Entheofest. I'm incredibly grateful to be living out my dream. My high school self would be like, what the hell are you doing? It's like, this is awesome. I mean, my high school self was interested in this stuff, but couldn't believe I'd be here. So it feels like a dream. It feels exciting to feel like we're at the start of something really big with MDMA and psilocybin as well, kind of coming up and hoping to get some type of medical or therapeutic use too. You know, we're not really there yet, but I believe that in the future we'll see that hopefully in a soon enough future. And as someone getting my social work degree and hoping to be a therapist, I'm excited to see what that would look like in me too. But just, I I guess what I would have people take away is look around you. It's raining. We scheduled this thing like 2 days ago, and everyone is still here. Y'all showed out. It might be a little bit smaller. Yeah. But not by much. And it really is, it's the energy here. The energy that everyone's brought here. I'm like, looking at you is just making me so happy. I love it. I love you guys. And I love to be here. So thank you for letting me speak to you. Thank you for giving me this platform to explore all. I've learned so much about, I've just learned so much in this process. And I'm grateful for being here. I'm grateful to all of you for not bringing drugs on campus. That was really the main thing, and so I appreciate everyone here abiding by that and wanting to listen to the advocacy and the speakers and look at all of our booths and not try to sell. It's awesome to see that so many people care about the movement like we do. And to be a part of it in the best way possible. So again, you make the event what it is. I feel surrounded by so much love, and we're not backing down. We're not backing down. This sets legal precedent. I hope, we in the 90s hashtag did this, the student group sued and won, and then we still have to go through this year. So we're planning. We're our eyes are open. We're vigilant, but we hope this sets a precedent. And we want to work with the university. We love being here. We love getting the students involved and excited about this stuff. So we're going to stay here as long as we can, and maybe we'll be hashtag for 50 years. So, thank you all for being here. It's a pleasure and an honor, and enjoy the rest of the event.
Jamie Lowell, our keynote speaker, who you're going to hear from later, who won this case, our lawyer, Thomas Levine. Yes, please, Thomas Levine. We're going to hear from him about the case and more about free speech, so stick around. Ann Bannister, not only for helping bring this around 5 years ago, but also being there for me when she found out it was denied and just helping me scatter and try to find other ideas. Alan Haber is doing another festival here. And I really appreciate Alan. He offered for us to come and merge with him should we not have gotten the permit. So thank you, Alan, so much for that. And thank you, Ann, for putting us in touch. THS Audio, all our volunteers that showed up today, I really appreciate that. We need more people to volunteer, do things like this. Our sponsors are obviously really important and we need to be able to be here. Our sponsors stuck with us for the last couple months until we got this permit. The Gabby Shepard Foundation is here today. Prospect Realty Group. Mushroom Man Mycology, who couldn't be here because they had car trouble on the way, and hopefully we'll see them again, but they've been a sponsor for the last 4 years, so we're sad they couldn't make it. Hydrodynamics International, which is really amazing. Triple Phoenix. We'll see some of these people at the after party. Greenstem, they're down in Niles, Michigan. Our Grateful Journey, which is an incredible therapist place that Dr. Rob is here. Epiphany Mushrooms, who couldn't be here today too. Thank you, Epiphany. They've been a sponsor and they're very generous. Torn and Frey, you probably saw them over there. Great group of people over there. Seed Seller, we'll see them later. They're from Jackson. There's a lot of great decriminalization of progress going on in Jackson, Michigan right now, actually. So I think Seed Seller's got a lot to do with that. That's really great. And then finally, the Redemption Foundation. They're not here today, but they've always supported us every year, just like Greenstem and Mushroom Mycology. I want to thank you, everybody. Right now, we're going to introduce you to Josie Scoggin. Josie is the... I don't know, Josie, we're going to do this. Josie is the main person behind the Great Lakes Expungement Network, which helps expunge people's records, which is really important to do.
especially as things become more criminalized and legalized. How do you like this? She also has another nonprofit called Some of These Honors, which helps people that have been affected by the incarceration of family members. Josie Scoggin, everybody.
Thank you. My name is Josie. I am the HBIC at the Great Lakes Expungement Network. We do fee-free full-service expungements all over the state of Michigan. There's not a place you can buy weed, smoke weed, or smuggle it the fuck in that we don't have a client within 20 minutes. We're the only ones providing you an attorney, an Uber ride, and paying for your application fee. I am not bragging, I am complaining. It is expensive and it's extensive. We've done 3,700 expungements across the state of Michigan. We have never lost a case. That's $7 million in free legal care. Also, I hide it really well, but I'm also disabled. I've been microdosing. I've been microdosing LSD for the past 5 years. It has changed my life. The ability to get up in the morning and get a shower and go to fucking work is a privilege. And it's not something we all have. We don't all have the same hours of the day. And I have found something that works for me, and it might work with you. It has no side effects. It does not. It has changed my life in a way where I'm finally able to be present. I'm able to be here. I appreciate the opportunity to be with people that I love, doing something that I love. If you or a friend needs a criminal record expungement, I am your girl. Jen told me not to swear, so I don't have a lot more to say. Please visit us at the GreatLakesExpungementNetwork.org. If you are ever finding yourself against what kids are protesting on a college campus, you are on the wrong side of history. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Todd, for fighting for free speech. I do love weed and I love psychedelics, but I love the ability to say what the fuck I want to say when I want to say it.
Hey everybody. So we've had some issues, I guess, with some of the speakers that should be here. So we are going to move forward with bringing up our keynote speaker right now. And I want to thank you all for sticking around here. We might be out of here a little earlier than we normally are, just because of what's happening with our event. So I do appreciate everyone sticking around here. Every one of you, like Emily said, I can feel such great love that people showed up and have that advocacy and want to learn about things. I wish we had more speakers here for you, but I'm so thankful for the speakers that we have because they've been so amazing. It always is when people are talking about healing. It's always that way when people are talking about things that we're learning about every day that can change everything from ourselves to our world. So that's what's really impressive. This next gentleman, Tom, are you here? Tom? Yeah, thank you, Tom. Really flexible. Tom was our lawyer this year. I've known Tom for a long time. He works at Michigan Normal. That's an advocacy group for cannabis that's been around since I was in college. And far earlier than that as well. Tom was pivotal in the reason why we won our case in court. And I'm so thankful to have him and to be his friend. Tom Levine, everybody.
Friends, seekers, healers, beloved community, gather not in silence, but in reverence for voices that echo across time. Long before the word psilocybin was linked into the pages of Western science, It was known by names sung around fire, names whispered in prayer, names carved into the memories of rivers, mountains, stars. The Mazatec people of Oaxaca, guided by the sacred Niño Santo, the little saints of the forest, welcome these mushrooms as teachers, not pills, not commodities, but doorways into balance. The Maya carved visions in stone that told of communion with the beyond. The Shipibo of the Amazon sings songs shaped by medicine, woven through the ayahuasca vine. Songs to mend the fractured soul. For thousands of years, indigenous nations across the continents have known that healing is not extraction, but relationship. Not numbing, but remembering. Not profit, but reverence. And so we speak of efficacy. We must speak of this. Generations of lived testimony, millennia of careful practice, a lineage of healing unbroken, except by conquest and prohibition. Compare this, if you will, to the cabinets of modern pharmacies. There you will find pills for despair that must be taken not once, but daily. That dull the edges, but do not mend the break. There you find prescriptions that leave the body trembling, the spirit heavy, the mind clouded. There you find opioids, marketed as salvation, but sowing a harvest of addiction, of lives lost, of communities grieving. And what of trauma? For those who have walked through war, through violence, through unspeakable loss. Pharmaceuticals may silence the nightmares, but they rarely lead the dreamer back home. They suppress, but they do not transform. Yet the studies of today, finally catching up with the wisdom of yesterday, reveal another way. Psilocybin opening pathways in the brain, allowing light into chambers long locked shut. MDMA in careful hands, guiding veterans through the ashes of memory toward wholeness. Ibogaine guiding those caught in the snare of addiction. Back to the first breath of freedom. These are not panaceas, they demand respect, ceremony, intention. They are not for escape, but for encounter. Not for forgetting, but for forgiving. Science now confirms what indigenous peoples have not forgotten, that healing does not come from suppressing our shadows, but from meeting them with courage, with community, with the guidance of the natural medicines that were given to us by Earth herself. And so I say to you, we stand at a crossroads. One path is paved with the profits of an industry that tells us healing comes in monthly refills, that our pain is a business model. The other path is older, winding sacred, live with ceremony, It tells us that healing is not consumption, but connection. Not escape, but return. Let us listen to the elders, whose songs still rise with the smoke. Let us honor the plants and fungi who ask not for payment, but for respect. Let us build bridges between science and ceremony, between clinic and forest, between tomorrow and the wisdom of long ago. Because the truth is not new, it has only been forgotten. The truth is not foreign, it grows at our feet. This truth is this, that we are not broken machines in need of constant repair. We are whole beings seeking remembrance. And the medicines are waiting, as they always have, to guide us back to ourselves. Brothers, sisters, siblings, kids, look around. Beneath the sky of Ann Arbor, on this green and storied diadem, where generations have marched, spoken, sung, and stood tall for freedom, for peace, for justice, and for truth. Today we gather not only in celebration of entheogenic substances, not only in reverence for the entheogens that open our hearts, but in celebration of something rarer still, a victory for freedom. When the regents of the University of Michigan tried to silence us, when they said no to the permit, when they said Entheofest 2025 cannot go, Emily Behrman stood up. She stood up with law, with courage, unbroken voices. The Student Association for Psychedelic Studies and its luminous president, Emily Behrman, said, not this time. In the Court of Claims, Michigan, she planted our flag. The judge's pen became a torch. The injunction was granted. And with it, our rights were upheld. Our rights to speak, to gather, to resist, to celebrate, to remember, to imagine, and to dream. Friends, do not miss the magnitude of this. A university that tried to bar its own students from the people's dream was told the Constitution still matters here. What we affirm, that speech is not a gift from the regents. It's not a privilege dispensed by bureaucrats. It is not conditional on what is popular or safe. It is a birthright. It is the marrow of democracy. It is the shield and the sword of the people. Court upheld what is written twice upon our hearts. First in the Michigan Constitution. Every person may freely speak, write, express, and publish his views on all subjects, being responsible for the abuse of such rights. And second, the First Amendment to the United States Constitution, Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech, for the right of the people peaceably to assemble. Entheofest lives today because the law still breathes. Entheofest lives today because students stood firm. Entheofest lives today because freedom is worth fighting for. Friends, this is not only about mushrooms and music, not only about one festival or one permit. We stand in an era where freedoms tremble. We stand in the shadow of a second Trump presidency. An era where constitutional rights are treated as obstacles to power. When students lift their voices against war, against the genocide in Gaza, funded by our own government, fueled by our own taxes, sustained by silence, they are told, sit down, be quiet, disperse. And that's happening all over this country. The universities are bastions of free speech and a necessary pillar of any functioning democracy. Freedom means anything. It means the right to cry out against injustice. It means the right to speak when speaking is inconvenient. It means the right to assemble when assembly disrupts business as usual. So today, let our celebration not be complacency. Let it be a vow. Let it be a promise that we will defend the rights our siblings fought for, our ancestors marched for, our peers are punished for. Because rights are not eternal unless defended. Because the Constitution is not self-executing. Because a festival like this is more than joy. It is testimony. It says, we are here. We are free. We will speak. We will gather. No court, no regent, no president will silence us. So let the drums sound. Let the smoke rise. Let the music swell like the heartbeat of the earth. Remember the judge's words that set us free this year. Remember Emily Behrman, Jim Salane, and Sachs, who would not bow. Remember that freedom is fragile and must be nourished like a tender seedling in a rough soil. And remember this above all. When we gather here to honor plants and mushrooms, to honor each other, to honor justice, we are practicing the very freedom they tried to take away. So breathe deep, speak loud, stand tall, and carry this flame beyond the dyad, beyond this day, into the long tomorrow, where the struggle continues, and freedom, like the mycelium beneath us, threads through the earth unseen, ready always to rise again.
Tom Levine, everybody. Thank you, Tom. So we have one more special guest that just showed up. I'm so happy he's here.
Ladies and gentlemen, when the resolution was passed 5 years ago in the city of Ann Arbor to decriminalize plant medicines and mushrooms, County Prosecutor Ellie Savitt made the entire county decriminalized. And he's done more since then. And now he's running for Attorney General of Michigan. Please put your hands together for Ellie Savitt, everybody. County Prosecutor Ellie Savitt.
Y'all see me under this thing? I'm a little bit tall. Hello, Entheofest. It's great to see you all on the Michigan Dyad. I want to do one thing. I want to get one thing out of the way first. Just got a text from our sheriff, Alicia Dyer, who is also supportive, wanted to send her request, but send her support, so give it up for our sheriff here. Look, I will be honest, y'all. I think this is my 5th year speaking at Entheofest. And in all honesty, I give some iteration of the same speech every year. I tell you guys that we do not prosecute the use or possession of entheogenic plants, and we won't. I tell you all that it was an incredibly easy decision to make because Ann Arbor led the way in functionally making it the lowest law enforcement priority, and it would not be fair to have a situation in which it is functionally decriminalized in Ann Arbor, you cross over US 23 into Ypsilanti, and it becomes criminal again. And I talk about, after we issued our policy, how so many people have approached me, veterans dealing with PTSD, victims of domestic violence and sexual abuse who are also dealing with PTSD, and they tell me this was such an impactful policy because I used entheogens and I got my mind right, and perhaps I was self-medicating with alcohol before, and now I am doing much better. And I'm incredibly grateful to this group, to this movement, for giving hope and giving healing to those people. So give it up for yourselves. And then I talk about the progress that has been made in the past year, right? And I do want to say, please support Representative Mike McFall's bill around entheogens. That's a really important thing that is up in the state legislature. But, you know, all of that remains true. And I still believe all of that. And you're still not going to be prosecuted. But I want to say this organization is standing today for much more than the decriminalization of entheogenics. At this moment in time, we are seeing our First Amendment liberties under attack. Under attack from the Trump administration, under attack from institutions that would bow to the Trump administration. And we have a long and storied tradition of freedom of expression here at the University of Michigan, in Ann Arbor, dating back to Hashtag. And y'all stood up for the First Amendment. So give it up for yourselves. Because I gotta say this, we cannot take a step back now. Entheofest is about political speech. It is about advocating for a policy position, advocating for the decriminalization of entheogens that helps so many people. And while I personally do support that, as I have, even more important is that I support your ability to speak freely. And at this moment in time where we are seeing so many people cower in fear, like we saw just this past week with ABC pulling Jimmy Kimmel off the air because he said something the president didn't like. What y'all have done was the exact opposite. You went to court. You litigated in favor of free expression. You litigated in favor of freedom of speech, and you won, and that is why we are here today. So I'm always proud to be here at Entheofest, but I'm super proud to be here today. Thank you for standing up, not just for the decriminalization of entheogenic plants, but for the most basic and core American principles. I will always stand with you in that fight. Thank you, Entheofest.
Standing out here at the Entheofest 2025, folks.
I'm really, yeah.
The rain has stopped.
So it's they were also doing construction on the giant. So how are you able to talk to the university about the way the project
we had nothing to do with that. I was surprised to see how quickly they cleaned up the diag. There was a lot of construction but it was great to see what they've done. I do appreciate the actually enforced, they gave us here. They really kept us well, education will help pass legalization or decriminalization or pass legislation. Having that sort of education of anything is going to help educate lawmakers and to continue to do that on a yearly what the laws are, so it stays intact. So people are educated, so laws can change, so studies can be
Okay, let's do a little walk around for you here at the 2025 Entheofest. Those talkers, they keep going on and on and on, but they're all important. They all say the same stuff, that we're lucky to be here this year. And we are. But I think you've seen it, folks. The 2025 Entheofest here in Ann Arbor, Michigan, USA. Diag is already winding down. You heard the organizers talk. You heard some of the sponsors talk. And now we're out of here. Hey, Ghetto, what's happening?